Where does this lead us to? Perhaps to an epiphany like Thomas Burton's, the Trappist monk and the great spiritual writer of the 20th century, the same epiphany he had on that street corner in Louisville. Long after he had taken his monastic vows, he was still struggling with that question, whose am I? Whose am I? And he got to the point where he saw a wholeness that, frankly, I don't even see yet. Although I want it to be true. And I feel called to live my life as if it were true. This is why we need to ask the question over and over again. Whose are we? One another's. Whose are we? The community of Los Alamos. Whose are we? The world's. Whose are we? The poor that we forget about right in our own backyards. Whose are we? Whose are we? The answer may never be the same twice. The answer may reflect the direction we need to focus ourselves in, but it will always direct us, point us in the direction of something larger than ourselves. That is the work of our faith together, to break out of ourselves, to become aware of ourselves as part of something larger. That's my challenge to us all as we go about our lives here as part of this church community. My challenge is to ask ourselves that question every time we come into this community. Because I don't think our daily lives often afford us a chance to think about the world that way. We might as well do it here when we have the chance. In the Jewish tradition, there's an object known as the mezuzah. We have one hanging on our door on the way into the sunroom here. On little scrolls of parchment are written the Hebrew name for God and portions of the Shema, the Jewish statement of faith, rolled up into a ceramic or a clay holder and hung on the door frame, both as a source of protection for the house and as a reminder for everyone who walks through the door whose they are. For the people of the Jewish faith, if you ask them whose they are, they will tell you with confidence, we are God's. Perhaps it would do us well to consider carrying our own little Unitarian Universalist mezuzah in our hearts as we come into this place. We won't have maybe as concrete an answer as Alamos to write down on the piece of paper we put inside, but we can write the question, whose am I? Whose are we? So that every time we walk into this place to be together as a congregation, every time we touch the door on our way in, we are making a conscious effort to break out of ourselves, to open up the little cages around our soul so that we can connect with something larger. And every time we leave as well, as we approach that portion of the service that I call returning, as we prepare to return to the world and to our everyday lives, so that we don't lose sight of what it is that we are trying to gain here, that we're trying to build here together. Touch the door and ask the question, as I leave this place, as I go through my week, whose am I? And again, whose am I? Whose are we? The relentless, unyielding, liberating question. We're approaching that time together now. Take a moment. Ask yourself, whose am I?